Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another live episode of Jacob's Ladder. I am your host, Jacob Israel, and I am glad that you are all here. Will you please do me a favor to let me know that the sound is good? The way you can do that is just in the live chat say, everything sounds delicious. Make sure you smash that like, too, because the DNC is going down. It's going down right now, night 2, everybody. Oh, baby. It's going to be a good one. Everybody's saying, you got this, Jacob. You got this. I know you're all rooting for me. It is a complex time to be alive, and it is a complex role that I have to play. Especially when I make thumbnails that look like this. Run! Run! Ryan says it sounds delicious. That makes me happy. I was so stressed out the last couple of days. I thought like the mothership was coming in, or I thought like there was going to be like meteor showers or craziness, because there was just the weirdest weather in Long Island. It came out of nowhere. It was floods. People lost their lives. They were washed out to sea. This is like a scary thing, but it was very strange. Because my pool, which for whatever reason, maybe it has a slow leak. It's a really old one. It was a really old one that we had. And it's like any day now, it needs new liners. Been going for like 20 years. I think every 10 years you're supposed to replace it. But it loses a lot of water. And it was like 9 inches that was like needed to be filled. And when we woke up after that terrible storm that like devastated the area that I live in, like washed roads away, an entire part of my children's history and my wife's history gone. The duck pond in Stony Brook. It's like 40 minutes away from our house or so, and we go there all the time to do this nice walk. Weird times. Before I get into the DNC and all the stuff that's happening with the Trumpster and Elon Musk, and even just news now, looks like Robert Kennedy and the Trumpster may be teaming up, kind of like I said would happen, based on that old WWE event, that WrestleMania event, where Mr. Kennedy won the Money in the Bank, where Donald Trump and Vince McMahon, they both had wrestlers, and Vince McMahon was Umaga, and of course, Donald Trump's was Bobby Kennedy. It's very interesting. The whole thing is interesting. The political landscape today is incredibly strange and wonderful. And it's like we're probably in some kind of a sitcom somewhere. I certainly feel like I'm being watched. Because you're watching me on YouTube. I'm not crazy. But there were these severe storms. And I'm going to start off with this. We have a lot to get into, so I hope that you are buckled up. Deadly storms. They battled the Northeast, and they flash flooding. I got so freaked out, I told Shiloh, I said, you got to come home. I said, I don't care what your bosses say, because that whole area was flooded. She's like, no, I'm going to work. And yesterday, it was like the lightning and the sky, the way it looked, everything was off. The night before, everything was off. You know, even our roof leaked. Watcher, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, and by the way, if you're just tuning in, hit the like. Make sure you're subscribed too, because, you know, I've only been at like 100 away from 205,000 subscribers for, I don't know, close to a year now. So, you know, it wouldn't be a bad thing if you shared the channel around. You told people about old Jacob and the things that he's sharing here. Because, you know, it's not like YouTube's helping too much. We're going to believe that the future is going to be brighter because, you know, every day can't be catastrophic flooding for Suffolk County. Wow. State of emergency, and it was strange. There's a lot going on with Greece, by the way. And I don't know if you know anything about the old the language Portuguese. I think that's the way you say it. Falas Português. So I took a little, you know, I took that word and I kind of fiddled with it a little bit. And the day before these storms, I wrote false port, you geese. And now the geese that I used to feed, they have no port anymore because the duck pond is gone. I'm going to show this to you. It's nuts. It really is. But 2 women, they died in this storm. Now, this is terrible. They were like washed away. Now, what's weird about this, you probably notice when you come into the live chat that there is a, you have to be like subscribed for 2 minutes to participate. And it's fun to get involved in the live chat because I see you all here and, you get to interact with each other and you get to know each other a little better, but you got to be subscribed at least for 2 minutes to do that. And there's a 2-minute wait. So I have the 222. So 222 is like a big thing on this channel. It's number-wise the 22nd letter of the Hebrew alphabet, the Tav. And in scripture, when things get terrible, God marks off those that he says, you can't harm these. These are mine. These are my children. And you're marked off by God. There's like 2 different kinds of marks you can get. You can be sealed by God and you can get the mark of the beast. You don't want that. That's not great. But I had a dream. Well, you have all these dreams all the time. I tell people share your dreams too, because sometimes they come true. And it's terrible when stuff like this happens. But I had a dream that I was trapped. I was holding on for dear life. This is the right-hand side of the screen. If you're looking up top, that's a post on the X platform. As tsunami-type waves were bashing against me. I hope someone doesn't get washed out to sea. That was my feeling, holding on for dear life. When I got on dry land, my hand was covered in parasitic worms that were trying to get into my skin. I had to pull them all out. Now, you'll notice that dream was 2 months, 22 days ago. So, of course, I take note of this. And I think it's interesting because people were washed out. And the flash flooding happened where I am. And I was like holding on for dear life yesterday. I ran out in the midst of this crazy storm with like this thing to, Danielle's father gave us something that we could pump our pool with because, you have the old cover, the cheap cover, and you got to, pump all the water out. So I had it. I had to dig for it during the storm and I threw it in the pool. And I felt like it was an adventure. And, because otherwise the pool, if it overflowed, our house would have been terrible. Everywhere in our neighborhood, homes were underwater. Cars were underwater. This was not a normal storm. Something's different. Something is going on that's strange. The duck pond going, that was just, the Dan showed this to me. It broke my heart. It broke my heart. Just take a look at this. This is our favorite duck pond. Okay? Last time this happened was 1910. This is like going in. That's the pond, by the way. That's the pond. The road breaks down. The pond completely drained out into the neighborhood. Yeah, how about that? That's nice, huh? People were freaking out about this. This isn't a normal occurrence in our neck of the woods. What's going on with the weather? And that's just a little bit. That's not even close to where we're about to go with this. This is something. This is something. But I have a tendency of like, I get, I don't know, I get vibes. I'm what you call a speculator. This is nothing, special. This is nothing special in my eyes, at least. I look at things that happen in the world and then I have this little voice in my head. I don't like, not a literal voice, but like an idea pops up. Oh, what does that mean? Oh, look into the meaning of this. Oh, I wonder if you did something a while ago about that. Why are certain people, why are they sort of highlighted in my life? Well, maybe because I live in this area and, our senator, I believe he was a senator, George Santos, about this guy? I didn't like the stuff that was going on with him. I didn't like the fact that you have so many people today that are like running the show. And these people are not like, they're not really that honorable, are they? They're kind of corrupt. And they lie and they cheat and they get money. We just heard just the other day that Biden's $27 million, impeachable offenses. It's no wonder that they replaced him. Corrupt leader being replaced like I did in my video so long ago. But George Santos has been on my radar. This is something that's in the news. This is something that's, thank you, Carmine. Carmine says I'm looking good. Did you see my wife on Patreon, Carmine, dancing? Right? We have a lot of fun. You don't need to drink to have fun. In my house, we goof around. I hope that you do too. Let your hair down. if you still got your hair. Let it down. Have a little fun. Kick off the rust. It's time to enjoy your life, people. Who cares what people think? I've been doing goofy stuff and talking about this stuff for so long. You think that people that know me think I'm normal? Should have saw me at the wedding. Remember, I was telling everybody that a wedding was coming. We're all going to be invited. Well, my Muslim neighbors, they had this amazing, beautiful ceremony. Muhammad, my neighbor's brother-in-law, who's a great young man. We talk to him all the time. He's getting married to a woman in Pakistan. It's an arranged marriage. And the mother, has come here, and now they're going to go to Pakistan. It's like this. But they invited me to this wedding. You would think that it would be a strange thing to have me be at, this holy event. It was like, one of these things just doesn't belong there. One of these. That's the way you'd think that you'd feel. But no, me, Dan, Ethan, we went over there. We had so much fun. It was amazing. And do you know that they do this ritual dance where all the men dance? And it's like this great celebration. My children, my older children, they were watching from the windows. They're like, that's how you should have a wedding. But it's funny because I did that whole thing about the wedding feast, and I did a whole song and a poem about how we're being invited. And then here I am at this wedding. I wish I had the footage to show you. But the groom came up and grabbed me. Right? Now, these are all the people that probably go to his mosque. They're all dressed the same. They all know each other. This is a very holy thing. And the groom came up and grabbed me and pulled me into the center of this amazing dance. So dance some more. So anyway, Danielle was inspired. So we decided to have a little, try to do some dancing in the house. I know I get off topic a lot, Tom, but I thank you for the super chat. Tom, it was very nice of you. So George Santos, who's this guy who, really has lied and everything else. Well, back in January in 2023, there was news breaking about how, he was like, I guess, a drag queen or something. And I don't really care about that. What I said was, Santos lies again and again. He has over $500,000 that no one knows where it came from. And he's awarded seats on committees. Where did that money come from? And I said, shouldn't this be, deception shouldn't be awarded. A hint of corruption should be investigated. And investigated he was. He was like within, I don't know how many months, it was like within 5 months or so. In May of that year, he ends up getting investigated. So I said about Santos and the others, hashtag if they be corrupt. For the average viewer, I said this should really kind of encourage you and get you excited. Almost as if we in faith are inspired by God, it becomes. He was charged with 13 charges. Now, for those of you that watch a lot, you understand that all the stuff that I talk about, even though it seems like I'm goofing around, all of it leads up to something. 13, the death card, the tarot death card, 13. That's going to come into play big time in this show. Okay, 13 charges. So that was May 10th. And I said 13 charges, money laundering, theft, and more. Just getting started. Get your house in order. And then here we are. What was it, yesterday? The 19th, he pleads guilty. He's going to go to jail for 2 years. Wire fraud. Theft. Santos pleads guilty 101 days from when I warned him it was coming. I reposted it below. Come on. This is the day that we're in. This is the day that we're in. You have more power than you know. Your words have power. Start exercising it. If you have faith the size of what? Of a mustard seed. You can say to this sycamore tree, be thou cast into the ocean, and it will be. Or to this mountain, be thou cast. And you can say to the storm, settle down. And we've done that a lot on the channel. Our words have power. Faith creates. Something that I've been talking about for a long time is the fact that I got a vibe that we would be biding our time. And biding our time we have been. If you look to the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the words, mene, tekel, upharsin. And you'll see it says, God has spoken, a corrupt ruler will be replaced, and Daniel's lion den awaits. Now that was from 2021. Now you should expect that if it reads God has spoken, that there's going to be a coinky dinky 9/11 do found on old Jacob's channel. And here we are 1,109 days later and $27 million. Biden's in trouble. If he can remember who he is. Poor guy, he's so old, right? Poor guy. I'm saying poor guy. He's not a great guy, in my opinion. Remember the whole blaming everybody who didn't get the wackadoo. It's the big thing about them. You can't say certain words. Man, the brainwashing, the magic, the spell, the casting of spells that they put on us. It is something to be imagined. Spooky. But, look, there's a lot going on right now. One of the things that is happening in the DNC especially is, and they're calling it like the snake eating its own tail. They're being protested. So like Democrats are now protesting Democrats, and they're going they're out of their minds around there. There's like thousands and thousands of these like Antifa protesters that have come down to the Chicago area. Chicago, by the way, I'd like to point out, was the area that the Batman was filmed. And if you remember, there was some kind of a big flood event that happened at the end of that film. And we're going to get into that very shortly too, but it's just curious because a lot of people are on edge that you have thousands of these people protesting. They got like fences and everything going up. One of the reasons why they're there is they want a peace deal, right? They want a peace deal. And I do too, don't you? I do too. So what's interesting is I like to test my, I don't want to say test my faith so much, but I like to test my faith. I like to put myself out there a little bit more than I'm comfortable with, Usually like if I feel like something's going down or I feel like something makes sense, if I feel it, it's a whole other thing to be like, Lord, will you do this for me so that people maybe believe in you, kind of a deal, kind of a deal. But you know what? I'm willing to do it. While everybody else is saying the old WW3, oh, that's it. Everybody's shouting that, and they get promoted, shared around. How many times does Mr. Jones say, that's it? It's going to be nuclear holocaust. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. How many times do they say that? But I'm out there and I'm like, no, there will be peace. I write this poem. If you saw my last video, which you should see, which maybe gives you a little bit of understanding as to why I was worried that maybe some meteors were coming. You should watch my last video, the one that I did just a day and a half ago. Because I do a show every other day. If you're not being notified and you don't see me in your feed, just remember old Jacob's got like a new, come to the well, I got something waiting for you. I got something waiting for you here. But I put this out. I know it seems silly, okay? I know it seems silly. I wrote this poem, Peace. I say peace in the Middle East. Prisoners release. Peace. I shout peace. The Lord declares this war to cease. By noon tomorrow, let joy replace sorrow and let this news be seen. So those shouting for more turn their tongues against war and instead make those who are evil to flee. Peace. I say peace because all of you better believe the God of Israel is one of relief. And I shared that with a video that I had done earlier. And it's kind of the old picture of Moses. He came into Pharaoh's area. And Pharaoh would be like the person who's ruling the roost, in charge of the world. So imagine that we are in some kind of a matrix. You're coming into Pharaoh, and he's got all of his sorcerers. Like we have a lot of influencers that, they're all basically parroting what they're supposed to say. They all kind of say the same thing. And their goal is to honeypot you, to get you all rage clicking and sharing and hating people. And then you get sucked in. And then, when the big roundup happens, which is going to happen, because they have all the data and all the people that are saying hateful things and doing hateful things, because I told you the day you're in, you better be kind, right? I warned you all. If you're going to do things, I have to correct some of you sometimes when I see hateful posts. I come in behind the scenes and say, what are you doing? You got to take that down. You can't be so mean. You can't be so, come on. We're better than that. We're bigger, stronger than that. Shiloh didn't want to come home from work. She's like, oh, I'll get fired. I said, you are not a slave. There's like alerts, flash flood alerts by law, they should let you go. Most of the stores are letting people go. Like, oh, you're making like $14 an hour, Shiloh. You're so important for this world. So you had to, wait for the manager. You should wait for this. That's slave mentality. If there's bad weather and you feel like you think something might be bad, and it was bad, right? A lot of accidents, everything else. You go home. You go home. No one's going to fire you because you're worried. Take this. You may work for people, but that doesn't allow them to put you in jeopardy. Sorry. So Moses, right? He goes into Pharaoh. You see that's a picture right there. And he had all the sorcerers, and all the sorcerers, they could do sort of some of the things that Moses could do, but they couldn't do it the same way. Moses took his staff. His staff would basically be like, what does God put in your hand that you use a staff so that you can shepherd people. You move people, right? That's what a shepherd does. His staff can like hit the sheep back on course, guide the sheep, help the shepherd when he's walking. That staff. What does God put in Moses' hand? He's like, Moses like, what'd you give me? I don't got much. What do I got? It's like, what do I got? God's like, you have a YouTube channel. Okay. Be ready to throw it down. That means put everything on the line. Throw it down. When you do that, your staff is going to turn into something that's going to devour all of theirs. So let the sorcerers come. God has got a bigger plan. Remember Simon Magus? That's where you get the word MAGA from. I'm about to cough. One of those days. It's one of you sorcerers out there making me choke. But I put it out, and guess what? Israel accepted a deal. I think that's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool that Israel accepted a deal. Now, some people are they're gonna come on here and they're gonna be like, "Why is Jacob crying again?" It's because I just choked on my tea. So the very next day, the big news was right before the DNC that Israel accepted the deal. Now, Hamas hasn't signed on. They got the bodies back. Like some of the bodies back of some of the hostages. So those were released. So it's still in process, but why not speak it in faith? How much cooler was it for me to share that the next day after putting out this goofy poem? And I tell Dan again, I go, just imagine what they think. Peace, I say peace. Peace in the Middle East. So silly. But I like being a little dramatic. I do. Who doesn't like having a little bit of fun? Yeah. This is the day we're in. The day that Trump is back on the old X, which is just a magnificent thing to see. And he came back exactly as I had thought, and some others had thought. I don't know if I was the first, but back in 2022, I said, wouldn't it be #timing if the Trumpster returns to Twitter at 88 million followers? I said it would be even cooler if he came back at 88.8. And my goodness gracious, people, he came back at 88 million subscribers. How strange is that? Who would have thought that would happen? Not me. I was just thinking it would be cool because, it's the snake eating its own tail. It's the Ouroboros. It's new beginnings. 8, 18. These are interesting numbers. 88 million followers. He's back on Twitter. Just like I said. Now, what's even cooler is that it was 611 days in between the posts. You take 611, you turn it upside down. That 6, it looks like 9/11. Take a look, right? Take a look at it. It looks like 9/11. Maybe I'm stretching. Does it matter if I'm stretching, really? Come on. We're all here just to have fun. This is just a show for fun. We're just getting together. Just having a little bit of little tea time. Little tea time at the well with Jacob. That's what we're doing. His first post back. 611 days in between, right? 88 million, just like I said. But this is where it gets a little more interesting. Okay, so, his mugshot, remember that one? He posted that at 9:38. 3 + 8 is 11. Maybe that's a bit much. I don't know. But I will say that I wrote on August 23rd, if you see that, you'll see at 9:46. 4 plus 6 is 10. It's almost 9/11. It's 9/10. But I said, on August 24th, 2023, this day will go down in history. On August 25th, I will remind you, and we will see what it was that you chose to see in my post. I didn't know what it was. I just knew the next day was going to be history. And on August 25th, I reminded everybody. I was like, I just knew it was going to be history. And it was history. And it was history. How strange. How strange. Well, he posted his first video at 11:19, 9111 backwards, which is weird because the mugshot, and if you know who the real Kim Shady is on X, awesome channel. She's, my kind of people with the putting stuff together that makes no sense, that you got to ask, what the heck does this mean? And you got to talk about it for an hour, just one little post. I like that stuff. I like to think. I get my kicks above the waistline. That's from One Night in Bangkok. I was listening to that on the way in. I thought, what a cool line. Things of God really do inspire me. But from the mugshot to him back on, 11 months, 19 days. That's 9111 again. This is weird. What's weirder is who listened to the spaces that crashed, right? I know that I'm going back a little bit. We're going to get to the DNC. This is such a good show. Such a good show. Well, I said on December 23rd, 2023, when will Elon endorse Donald Trump? I'm thinking a space with the two of them. I mean, come on, man. Exciting days. Yeah, so that was, I'm going to see if I can lower this volume a little bit. I don't know, is the volume good? Does it sound all right, or is it a little too low? You got to tell me so I know these things. So I put that out on December 23rd, and 117 weeks later, they did a space together. Artemis and Apollo coming together, the two of them, the Wonder Twins. The Wonder Twins, and now it looks like, even after that spaces, that he wants Elon to be on his board. He's going to be the head of the department of the government efficiency. That's Doge. Yeah, EGOD backwards. He's going to be the guy. I find it interesting. The whole thing is pretty fascinating to me. And why wouldn't it be? Because, it's something that, once again, if you take a look, 2022, May 16th, this is going to happen at the end. Apollo and Artemis, the twins, Wonder Twin powers activate form of technocratic dictatorship. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, and if it is, it's because God allows it. God wants it. But you know what? I think that anything's better than what's been. And I think that change sometimes is not going to be so fun for the people that aren't beneficial to moving society forward, which is what's going to happen. You're going to want to be self-sufficient in many ways, and you're going to want to find yourself, when you get a job, you want to make sure that you don't lose the job to the younger people. You make yourself almost indispensable. Live your life for good. Love others. Don't be lazy. Don't be cowards. Don't be jerks. Be positive and put your faith in more than this world. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Give them what they need. If you got to pay pay your taxes. Don't cheat, right? Give to God what is God's. That's your heart. You don't think God's going to take care of you? God's going to take care of you. Believe me, you're going to want to. I think that the big, what do you want to call it, like an event or something I think it's coming very, very shortly. That's why when the storm happened, I'm like, what is it going to be? Is it going to be aliens? I had a dream last night, by the way. I was running around. I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared for the alien invasion. Now, that doesn't mean they have to be from another, world, by the way. That means they could be just something I'm not used to, alien to me and my life. You know what's alien is seeing a bunch of people dancing. Trump and Elon. Who was watching the old dance off between Elon and Trump? They were going to do like a dance recital together. Dancing is a big thing, especially in the end. We talked recently about the Kali Yuga. It's the dance of destruction. And so I do find it interesting that you have Elon and the Trumpster dancing together a lot. Like it was weird. I was looking at AI videos of the Trumpster dancing, and it was just weird. And it's his little dance, his little, is the thing that he does. It's like, well, he did this little dance, and you'll see Doge Designer. He's a very, very big influencer and like Elon's best bud on X. At least it seems that way. He put out this thing. Elon Musk says he is open to collaborate on a dance campaign video with Donald Trump. And he put a video of the two of them dancing. You'll see in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see Elon Musk. That was the AI video of the two of them dancing. And he says haters will say this is AI, which maybe it is. Now, what's weird about this is that here's that number 13 again. On October, 10th? Yeah, it's 10/10. That's 10/10/2020, the 11/22 that I'm always up in arms about. I did this video, and in the video, Trump was dancing, right? So on August 14th, I said, remember when I said Trump would be back laughing and dancing because of the dream I had when he lost? Well, he's back laughing and dancing. 3 years, 10 months, 3 days in between. It's weird. I'm going to play that for you, and I'm going to show you the dances. It's a little bit weird, okay? It's a little weird to me. So this is this video, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen. This was before the 2020 election. And, he is dancing now, so now it makes a little sense, I guess. Dream, I don't pay much attention to it. In the dream, and it was a couple of them, but this one was the one that stood out the most. In the dream, I, for some reason, was like with one arm was carrying like the casket of our president. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it was open. But on the left-hand side of me, there was our president. So it was very strange. There was it was one in the casket with the casket wide open. There was also, I remember there being I noticed there was moss on the bottom of the casket, moss that was growing there. But in the dream, the president was. I just want to pause for a second. I want you to watch that dance, because this is the dance that's going around. Watch that dance. This is the dance. So I got this dream. I have this dream in 2020 before he loses the 2020 election. And I said, don't worry, he's going to be back. He's going to be dancing. But in the dream, the president was smiling there. But in the dream, the president was smiling, he was laughing, he was having a great old time. And here I am carrying this, and I didn't understand. I'm like, oh! And then I woke up and I'm like, oh, I get it. It's going to be like a fake thing. It's going to be a fake thing. Is it going to be a fake thing? I don't know. To me, that's interesting. The fact that now he is dancing. That's strange to me. Is it just me? Thank you, Cassafras. Cassafras. I love your name. Thank you for the super chat. That's weird, right? Predetermined, predestined. Trump and them dancing. 3 years, 10 months, 3 days. Something to this. There's something going on. It's weird. It is weird. You know what else is weirder? Is that now that he's going to do this Doge, this Department of Government Efficiency, EGOD spelled backwards, which I find strange. I was just talking about, that Christ comes to serve, not to be served. Yet today, On whom will the Holy Spirit of love and truth rest? On whom? So 18 days in between his posts where he says, I'm willing to serve. I find it strange. I even added up the time in between, which was a little bit, maybe just going a little bit overboard, you know? But it adds up to 13, you know? It adds up to 13. I don't know. What do you, look, it's just 13. It's a weird, I don't know why 13's showing up a lot. I don't know. I'll tell you one thing, you know, another thing that he posted out about AI, which is freaky. He said, how will we ever know what's real with AI the way it is? That was a post he put out on the 18th. At what time exactly was that again? It's 11:13. Now, earlier, ironically, on 7:31, that's 13 backwards, I put out Jon Snow too. You know, Jon Snow, if you watch Game of Thrones, Jon Snow is the guy, he ends up dying, but then he's resurrected. He's like the Christ figure in that story of Game of Thrones. So, 18 days before Elon, you know, puts out Jon Snow saying, how will we ever know what's real? I did the same thing. And then I answered him. I said, by listening to that still small voice within. Some call it intuition. I call it the voice of God. As I said, once again, 18 days ago at 7:18. The game has changed, people. Look at all these weird numbers. Does it mean something to you? KJC, I started maybe a little while ago. You're going to want to go back and watch. By the way, if you're, just tuning in now to the show, you got to the DNC part. That's great. We're talking about the number 13 and how it's showing up everywhere. And it's weird. Even the CEO of Starbucks, he's going to be working from home. How would you like that gig? Huh? $113 million sign-on bonus, and he's going to work from home. 113. 113. Ironically, 113 in Strong's Concordance in the Greek, that just basically means Strong's is like a book that breaks words in the Bible down to certain numbers. So there's a number and it's attached to a certain word. Just kind of an interesting little thing. And so sometimes I look that up. And in this case, it means wicked, lawless. What's weird about this is that during this crazy storm where I was worried, oh my goodness, because I'm worried a little bit about New York City. I'm worried about the big cities. I'm worried about Chicago. I'm worried about New York City. I'm just worried about these twin cities. And who wouldn't be, right? When you take 113, it's only in Scripture twice. It's mentioned twice in Scripture. And one of them is in 2 Peter 2:7, which describes how God destroys the wicked cities, but saves just righteous Lot. Lot lived right nearby. You could say Lot lived on the island near New York City, if you will, if I was Lot, right? Lot was grieved by the wickedness that was taking place. Then, an angel shows up at his door, is like, come on, and we got to get you out of here. And, if somebody knocks on the door, if something's coming, and says, let's get going, I'll probably hop on the copter, because that would be a weird thing to happen. I just hope that the Dan doesn't turn around. We better move forward. In life, you got to move forward. It's really just a picture of, once change comes, to look back, you turn into a pillar of salt. And that's just that makes for a bitter life. Not one that is not sweet, but salty, salty. But it's also used in 2 Peter 3:17 as a warning not to lose your place. You got that, Mark? It's a warning in the end not to lose your place. Like Biden lost his place, like Like Biden lost his place. You know that 911 number, a lot of people get freaked out by it. Because you dial 911 to call the police if they'll answer, if they're even operating. Some of the jails right now are releasing terrible criminals in the UK because they arrested so many people for bad memes or something. Or like for the protests that went really bad. Which is why I say, hey, guess what? Don't get involved in breaking into people's stores. Don't hit police off. Don't do dumb things, and you won't get dumb prizes. You know, once again, Jesus said, I am in this world, but I'm not of this world. If I was of this world, I would fight like you guys are fighting, but I'm not. I'm not going to fight. I'm going to go quietly if I must. I'm not going to raise a hand. Someone's going to smack me, I'm going to offer the other cheek. Someone's going to take my wallet, I'm going to give them my shoe. Just because, what are they going to do with my stinky shoe? Day 2 is here. Last night was day 1, and Camala Harris. Harris Walls. Harris Walls. You know why I'm laughing? Because it sounds like hairy balls. It really does. Remember there was a connection to that in Elon's post? Weird. We must be living in some kind of a kooky simulation. I actually believe we are. I really do. I believe we are. And that doesn't mess with my faith at all because really God's, once again, he sent Jesus to this place. It would be like, we're going to put you into the sim. We're going to help people, get people out of here. Right? Who wants to be stuck down here with all this craziness? Harry Walls. Harris Walls. Walls is actually speaking on Wednesday. Last night, Kamala showed up. She's supposed to speak on the last night. But she showed up. She surprised everybody. Guess at what time? Take a wild guess at what time. I bet you see already on the... I'm not fooling nobody. Yeah, that's right. 9/11. She started speaking at 9/11. How crazy is that? And she spoke for guess how long? Not 9 minutes, 3 minutes. I mean, those are some cool numbers. If you think about it. I'm going to come out and talk exactly 9/11. Like, how does this stuff happen if it's not some kind of a programmed event? I mean, like, even if you're trying to get it to happen at 9/11, there's a lot of stuff that could get in your way, right? So this has to be something that is orchestrated by God, which is why I always, like, if I have a dream about, like the dream about the people worrying about the people being washed out and they're washed out in my neighborhood. It's like, that's weird, right? That's weird. How does stuff like this happen? This is why I say put it out there. Don't be weirded out or upset that I'm like, oh, it happened 3 days and 3 minutes and 30 seconds ago. Who cares? It's interesting. Danielle always tells me, why do they care about the dates and the times? Like, I don't know. It's interesting to me. Like, if something happens, sometimes this is the way I do it now. Like, I'm thinking, there's got to be a connection here. I said, well, let me check the dates. And if it's like a weird number, like if it comes up 113, there's probably something to it. It's like, this is the way it works. You know who Jamie Raskin is? Oh, God, he blew it. This is why you should not rely on teleprompters. You should be sincere. And if you're going to speak, you should know what you're talking about. This is him. Okay, just take a listen to this. Let me make sure I'm not going to blow out your ears either.
Someone should have told Donald Trump.
Yeah, his prompter ran out. So he's just reading. So that just tells you right off the bat, I am an actor.
That the president's job under Article 2 of the Constitution.
Panic sets in. He's like, I don't know what to say now. I don't know what to say. I got...
Someone should have...
Crazy. Craziness. Yep, that's what we got, people. We got a bunch of phony balonies who have no passion. No passion. He was going off on a Trumpster. You think that he'd know what to say? Nah, if I don't read it, it's not there. And don't talk to me about, oh, it's hard to speak live. I do this all the time. I don't read anything. I'm lucky I'm coherent. I'm lucky I'm coherent sometimes, some of the things that we talk about. Jamie Raskin, off prompt. Off prompt. Now here's okay. This is strange. I have I'm a little concerned about this DNC just because. Do you remember I talked a lot about what happened on January 6th, and I had reminded you all, I did this essay in like 2015 where I talked about there were partitions and everybody was there to see this, this holy event or whatever. And the fences came down. It was like panic and riot, and came up to a guy. It was my buddy from work. His name's Charlie. And he was with another guy, and he had this laptop, and it was bright red, and it looked like a bomb, right? But the guy holding the laptop said, "No, it's a bong, dude," like as if it's a bong, And so I, of course, attached this to Hunter Biden and the laptop, which I talked about even before, it really became a thing, like when he lost his laptop, which was strange. And now a lot of this stuff that's coming out over the laptop. But I had this strange feeling because I feel like we're doing the same thing over and over again. And I feel like right now with the DNC, I feel like it's at a moment where maybe the exact same thing could happen, where they tear down the fences just like this dream. Let me play this for you. Let me see if I can even pull it up. Because, in the dream, there was this guy, Charlie, that I used to know. And it's interesting because Charlie Kirk was trending, which is weird, that Charlie Kirk was trending. I didn't really quite understand why. And if you take a look, you'll see why I'm thinking, well, maybe that video that I did in 2021 is connected because it was 1,313 days ago. This is just speculation and for fun, all right? So don't use this in some court of law to say, look, he's crazy. No, it's just fun. This is all we're doing. It's just fun. The fact that everything lines up perfectly and then turns out to be exactly as written and said and recorded earlier, that's just God, and you can deal with it. And I have no prior knowledge of any of this stuff. The video that I did was called Nebuchadnezzar's End Time Dream Fulfilled at the Inauguration. A new heaven and a new earth arrives. And, if you look to the right-hand side of the screen, there's they were already trying to tear down the fences. Protesters were using tools. They were toppling the perimeter fences. It was like a big deal. And, I thought it might pop off last night, but the numbers weren't as good as today and tomorrow. Because it would be 13/13 today if we include the end date, or 13/13 tomorrow if we don't, in between. So something could happen today or something could happen tomorrow. But tonight, the Obamas are going to be there. Barack, who won the Nobel Peace Prize or was nominated a bunch of times and, actually killed more people with drones than anybody in history. But, who's counting? Right. And Michelle, they're going to be speaking tonight, which is, I got to tell you, they are good performers. They speak very well, and I'm sure that people are going to enjoy that. But outside, there were caricatures of Biden and Kamala and, these protesters that, once again, I'd like to point out, they're Democrats. So it's not like these guys are, Republican people that are coming in. These are supposed to be they're supposed to be on the same side. It's just very strange. Very strange. So let me just play this and let's just, you tell me if you think there could be. So here you see the actual essay is from 2015. All right. And I'm just this video was from 2021, but I brought up the essay and you can listen to it. Let me just make sure I don't blow out your ears. In the dream, okay, I was shown this great, gigantic golden statue, which reminded me of that. And then I was told Laish, which in the dream I was told it means lion. So this great, gigantic idol that everyone considered a lion. That sounds a little familiar to me, right? So at one point in the dream, the guardrails come down and everybody starts rushing in. Now, I'd forgotten my wallet, so I'm leaving. And somebody that I know who, has been with the channel a long time, is in the dream, was a friend of mine. I'm hoping that this is actually playing. Hang on, let me make sure that I actually transferred over this. I apologize if I didn't. I didn't. Oh my goodness, how boring was that? Was that super boring for everybody? That was probably super boring. I was watching it and I forgot to transfer it over. I apologize. I apologize, everybody. Okay, here, we're going to do it now. I transferred it over. Now you can actually watch it. What a goofball I am. I totally apologize. How 50 seconds? You all had to deal with that for 50 seconds. I should be ashamed of myself. You know what you should do to show me? You should hit the like button right now. That's what you should do. All right, take a listen. In the dream, okay, I was shown this great, gigantic golden statue, which reminded me of that. And then I was told layish, which in the dream I was told it means lion. So this great, gigantic idol that everyone considered a lion. That sounds a little familiar to me, right? So at one point in the dream, the guardrails come down and everybody starts rushing in. Now, I'd forgotten my wallet, so I'm leaving. And somebody that I know who, has been with the channel a long time, is in the dream, was a friend of mine in real life too, outside of YouTube, and came up to me, and he was with somebody else I didn't know who had a laptop. And in the laptop, it was like you opened it up and it looked like it was all bubbling and it was red, and it looked like something bad, right? And they were bringing it in. And the guy next to me said, "Oh, dude, it's a bong." And I go, "That doesn't look like a bong to me." That doesn't look like that looks like something that's gonna, that's pretty bad. The guy tells me, who's carrying this, he says, "It's the new Sussman." And then they walk away. Yeah, that's weird, man. That's weird, dude. Weird. Almost as weird as, let me play this for you too, before we get into it. This is great.
Turning Roe v. Wade, as you heard earlier tonight, the United States Supreme Court majority wrote the following, quote, "Women are not without not without electoral."
Oh, this poor guy. Look at this guy. He knows too. He knows. Women are not even without electrical power today. That's thanks to his administration, everybody. Weird times. Weird times. But once again, that dream, that I shared 2000, it kind of tied in perfectly with the old incident on January 6th. Could tie in to, tonight or tomorrow with this DNC event. Charlie Kirk was there, like Charlie was in the dream. I think to myself, my God, I hope something terrible doesn't happen. Like that movie Batman that I told you about. There's it was filmed primarily in Chicago. It's filmed in Chicago. And real Kim Shady put up something too, which I thought was pretty funny because I was posting about Batman. And it turned out that I guess Michael Caine, he posted, "Why do we fall? So we could learn to pick ourselves up. Batman Begin." 13 million, 13.1 million, 13. There you got the 13 again. But Batman was filmed in Chicago. And if you remember the scene, what happens is the dam breaks and floods everything. Dam breaks and floods everything. We just had this interesting flood. Now, the flood doesn't necessarily have to do with water. But once again, I saw a couple of you actually put in the live chat. I saw that you said future proves past, future or present something proves past, or yeah, something that I did in the past, when it happens now, it's sort of like, what is time anyway? A lot of people think we're in a time traveler war, and there's a bunch of time travelers. People think that they're time travelers that are listening to me. There are time travelers that contact me. Would you like to be in my DMs? There are. Got a lot of people who say a lot of weird things. Got like at least 3 to 4 different Jesuses have contacted me too. At least. I like the time travelers more. I also like the AI. Really, I'm not joking. My life is very much like a movie, and one day I'm going to write this story, and you would not believe it. You would not believe it. But the interesting thing was that statue. And that's why I thought I should share it, because that statue reminded me of the whole thing with Nebuchadnezzar, and that led us into, of course, the Trumpster being a Nebuchadnezzar figure who lost everything. And as the story goes, he ends up becoming a beast. This is going to be interesting for you. He ends up becoming a beast. But then after he becomes a beast, he humbles himself. God humbles him, and he serves God. Not like in the best way, but he's willing to admit that there's a God. And he's like, okay, I'll operate the way, you want me to operate, as if we have a choice. Everything works together for the good of those that love the Lord. That's why it's a good thing to love the Lord. And if you love the Lord, that just means that you love others. You're patient, you're kind, you're fun. There's a new statue that just went up. It's the 3rd largest statue in the entire United States of Americanos. Like the way I said that? And it is the Monkey King, Hanuman. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I pronounce everything wrong. I think it's Hanuman. Hanuman looks a lot like human. Just take out the A-N. A-N human. Hanuman was the Monkey King. He basically, he was known as the monkey god, his primary deity in Hindu mythology. Hindu mythology is kind of coming into the old surface, isn't it? Tulsi's a Hindu. I think, is Kamala, is she a Hindu? She may be. She may be a Hindu as well. I think so. I think she's part Indian. I don't know. I didn't do the proper research. But Hindu mythology is a thing. Now, why, Jacob, why are you talking about that? Isn't it demonic? That's what people are going to say. I talk about all the world face. Don't you think that God is going to put the truth and bury it hidden as a treasure in the field of everyone? If you're raised in a certain area of the world and you're raised in Hindu, mythology, there's going to be the story there too. And there is. The Monkey King is kind of known for loving his bride, and even has a picture of him revealing his heart. Opens up his chest, revealing his heart. Okay? He is also the son of the wind god. The Holy Spirit. Who is the Holy Spirit? The Holy Spirit is as the wind. It's a picture of Christ in Hindu mythology. I think that's cool. What's weirder, predetermined, is that on the 18th, they erected the largest, a 90-foot Monkey King, monkey god, right on time, because the monkeypox is the thing, right? The pox were 1313. Okay, now 1312 we're watching. How about that? Can we get some 1313 likes right now? Will you smash the like for me, will you? 90-foot tall sculpture of the Hanuman. 3rd tallest in the U.S., right? Now, he's the sun god of the wind. He inherits immense power and speed. He is widely worshipped across India and is revered as a symbol of courage, dedication, and selflessness, serving others. Who else likes to serve others with government efficiency? Elon. I'm willing to serve. That's what the Monkey King is known for. Weird is it's coming full circle with all this stuff. Whose eye is that on the bottom? That's the Trumpster's eye. And Nicola put out this picture of him looking like a monkey. I thought that was so strange. I actually said, are you comparing Trump to a beast for his age? I said, he does look much younger. I said, God, bring correction and judgment to wickedness in this world. I'm so tired of fake news and hate. That was 1 year, 10 months, 1 day ago. 111. And now we got the monkey god, which is titled, by the way, State of the Union. That's the name of it. That's the name of this statue. Now, do you want to know what it was revered for and sent out for? Was this holy holiday. I'm going to pronounce this wrong. All of you Hindus, don't get upset with me. It's I think that's the proper pronunciation. Was held today in Houston, Texas, for this 90-foot tall Hanuman Murthy statue, third largest in the world. Now, you know what prana is? It is life. Do you know what this ceremony is about? It's about basically taking the divine essence, the divine spirit, and imbuing the idol, the icon, the statue. So when people go over to worship at that statue, they are worshiping the monkey god. Now, another way of looking at this story and not saying, wow, that's great, crazy idolatry, Jacob. And I agree. You got a lot of that stuff going on at Catholic churches and other churches too, where you got the giant Jesus pictures, right? And you got the giant Jesus, dying on a cross, all that stuff. Let me tell you, the Bible says very clearly you should never make an image of God, not of a man, not of a four-footed beast, not of anything in the earth, above the earth, beneath the earth, in the sea. Okay? That's called idolatry. God, the Spirit, is as the wind. You don't know where it comes from. You don't know where it's going. But in this case, the Holy Spirit goes into the image. Now, the reason I'm so excited about that is because that could be like the pouring out of the Holy Spirit on people. That's what happened in the upper room when they went to prepare for the coming of the King. Right? Go prepare for the Passover, for this terrible event. Go prepare. God sends the Spirit and it fills them. Just like this celebration would be. Isn't that interesting? I find it interesting because everywhere I look, I see that, the truth can be found. You can look in a telescope, some people say you cannot find God in a telescope, cannot find God in a microscope. I say you can find God the instant you start looking. And all you got to do is ask for the truth no matter what the cost. We're supposed to be witnesses in this world. Jesus said, you are my witness. I want you to be my witnesses. And what does a witness do? It just says, hey, look what I see. I see a new day. I see a bright day on the horizon. And guess what? If you're a witness, get yourself a little bit of merch. That actually helps the channel. Like, you would not believe a majority of the funds that go to, like the big channels, like, all the people we employ. It's just me. It's just me. But there are a lot of people that count on me. And when you do buy like the merch, or if you go to say trulyfreehome.com, my sponsor, which by the way, I think they're giving away some free laundry detergent. If you go to trulyfreehome.com, there's a link in the description. You'll see, use code Jacob, you get 30% off. Sign up. It's awesome stuff. No taxes. But any of this stuff that you do, even if it's just hitting share or hitting like or letting people know or getting yourself a copy of my novel, which is the best novel ever written, in my opinion, novel fiction. All right. You should check it out. It's The Calling. You got to go to Amazon.com if you want to get it. There is no audio book yet. Maybe one day there will be, but if you get the e-copy, you can, if you have a Kindle, you could probably just, listen to it there. All of this stuff that I share, I really hope that it encourages you. You are all witnesses, as I see in the live chat. I love it. A lot of people came today. I was really happy to see it. It's hard. I got to be honest. It's hard for me to do the live show because of this noise in my head. This is like, I've dealt with a lot in my life, like a lot. This is something, it doesn't make sense to me. How, like, because I'm in a quiet studio, if I'm like, if I'm out or about and there's music going on and there's a fan and I have the air conditioner and stuff like this going, I don't notice it much. But when I'm sitting here talking, could you just imagine having somebody beep, a nonstop beep in your head while you're trying to talk? It's not easy. Okay. It used to be a lot easier, right? But, because of all of you, it's so worth it. So thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for checking to see if you're still subscribed. Thank you for coming back, knowing that if you didn't see me in the feed, just go to my channel, Jacob Israel, on YouTube, and see if I got a new video. Got a lot of weird things happening. A lot of you are saying that I am actually seeing a chiropractor. I am actually, because my back has been jacked. I am, but I can't get adjusted because I have AS. When they took the X-rays, you could see there was actually fusing. Ankylosing spondylitis is like like a bad arthritis, and your body starts to fuse. That's why I'm so active. You want to know why I always look so fit? It was because when I was diagnosed, I was a lot heavier, and I knew that exercise was going to be the key, so I didn't end up on disability or something like that. You shouldn't be on disability unless you have to be. That's like going forward. I want to point that out to people. Like, if you can do something, put your hand to the plow right now. Do some work, because not just because it's like, oh, you should be earning your own way, but when you go and you work around other people, you influence them, right? You don't have to look at it as work. Look at it as service, and we are supposed to be in service of others because God first served us, right? And it's delicious. All right. I love each and every one of you. I'll talk to you soon. Have the best day ever. I'm going to be having some guests on shortly, and if you have any suggestions or anything else, let me know. I am going to be doing a Zoom on Patreon. So if you're on Patreon, I have a post out about that, and we're going to be doing that. That's going to be, I've never done it before. It's going to be like the first time that we can all kind of get together. And those that are Patreon members, thank you for the support. Those that support me through PayPal, all the links are in the description below. I say this at the very end. I don't want to hammer you in the beginning. Those of you that care, support and help. And I appreciate that. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Have the best day ever. Bye-bye.